Ladies and gentlemen, I have a picture of here of the legendary late iconic Betty White. She died at 99. I put this picture up basically to the point of, as us Gen X, we're losing the best people that we grew up watching. It reminds me to a point of, who else do we need saved? We all wanted this woman saved. She lasted so long and was such an entertaining figure. Well, I can't find them all. We have a handful of people we definitely do need to save. Let's go to work. Why are we going to do this video? We have to. Sorry, not sorry. We welcome you to Jimmy Jam Sessions, and you're looking at me, and I appreciate you hanging out, and we're doing another one. We're doing another one because I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll for doing this stuff, and we, as the Gen X people, we have to stick together. Even the boomers, we're going to stick together. We are going to cling and take on this generation that we call Gen X millennials and even a little bit of Gen Alpha stuff. So, as always, wherever you are, if you do in fact find it, there's that subscribe button. You want to hit that and you want to be alerted for new stuff that is coming out no matter what we're doing. We appreciate you, and we're still hanging on here on YouTube for 1 year. Let's keep it going. So I put that picture up of Betty White. Why do I have a picture of Betty White to start a video? Because it's very simple. For years, this woman, who was the last remaining Golden Girl, was I don't even know what to tell you. She was iconic. I mean, Golden Girls, one of the greatest sitcoms, period, if not maybe a top 10, probably of all time. If I did a tier list, I might do that down the road of sitcoms. But this woman was, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most entertaining ladies out there, even on many game shows in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s as well. Did a lot of appearances on that. But that brings me to a specific one. Who else do we need to say? We lost this lady. We lost Bob Barker. We lost a lot of great ambassadors to entertainment. Now, I know I do a lot of hockey content and all this stuff like that, but this stuff right here is going to point directly to the Gen Z millennials. I find it funny that Gen Z knew about this person, started going back to finding, oh, she's extremely funny. And it's like, we can't lose her. Maybe that's a smart thing. Maybe you grew up a little bit and realized that she's one of the greatest, one of the GOATs. So I had to do a little homework, and I know I'm not going to get everybody, but I had to go and literally find a handful of artists, like movie stars, artists, and a handful of others that I know definitely do need saved. I don't know if we're going to get all of them, but there's that old saying, Father Time never loses. And ladies and gentlemen, if there is one that I miss on this list, put a comment in, because we all need to stick together. And we start with this guy, Tom Selleck. Now, Tom Selleck has been around for a while. That iconic mustache, originally Magnum PI. Remember that show with the Fiore? And now he's doing Blue Bloods, and he was also Monica love interest in Friends. This guy's still working. That mustache is still there. Don't let this guy go away. For real. He's a good guy. Here's Danny DeVito. And I'm telling you, this guy cannot be... the Penguin, when he did the Penguin and worked with Batman Returns, he did pretty good. And he just finds work. He finds the funniest stuff. He does Always Sunny in Philadelphia now, but now he's doing Jersey Mike's commercials. Don't let this guy go anytime soon. He's just don't lose Danny DeVito. And now we got to get to some good ones. Bill Murray, hardcore sports fan, legendary legendary actor of Stripes, Ghostbusters. He was in Space Jam. Oh, handful, billion films. And there was nobody on the earth like Bill Murray. And him and tag team partner Dan Aykroyd, they're out there. And Dan's doing more of the director stuff now. Boy, there's nobody like Dan Aykroyd. He was in, I remember many movies that he was in. Some I don't even want to even talk about because some of them were bombs. But any movie he was in, he did well. Blues Brothers with John Belushi, but he was in small stuff, and I can't name all that stuff because I don't want to make videos too long. But he did a ton of stuff. Remember, he was in Tommy Boy. Too funny. And Dan Aykroyd is one of a kind. He did. I don't want to let this guy go anywhere. And then we move on to a couple little comparisons. Sarah Jessica Parker, one of the good girls back in the day. I apologize, I don't have age comparings. I think she's in her 50s now, but she was one of the good girls. It's kind of like one of those things where you say she's one of the good girls you take home to mom, but she did great movies. And when she did Sex in the City, that is basically her stable. Her and all those actresses in Sex and the City, but they look like the girl has not aged at all. So I get into a little bit of the movie star run. Anybody remember Jackie Chan? This guy's still around. He's won numerous awards. He does his own stunts. You know, even if he failed at a stunt, broke his leg, he'd come back, finish the movie. He's you got to go back and see his old stuff. Forget Rush Hour. That is on its own pedestal with Chris Tucker. This guy does his own stunts. He was in the revival of the Karate Kid, in which Will Smith's son was also a star. Remember that reboot? It wasn't a bad movie, but you know, we don't talk about the Will Smith family, and we're trying not to get into that. But Jackie Chan is his own icon, and can't let this guy go anytime. He's irreplaceable. Now I go to a couple other ones. Pierce Brosnan. Now he is still credited as the oldest James Bond out of all the James Bonds, even to Sean Connery, and even that I can't remember the one guy that was on that did one film. Pierce Brosnan is labeled as the oldest one. We don't even know who the new one's going to be, but he is iconic. He's done villain roles. He's done a couple other, many other different things, but the guy hasn't aged. He looks in tremendous. But it's Pierce Brosnan. But you can't go wrong with this guy. Now Harrison Ford is still hanging around. We know him without a shadow of a doubt as Han Solo. He was in the reboot of The Fugitive, and good old Indiana Jones, and Air Force One. But Harrison Ford, good lord, don't let this guy go. I mean, Harrison Ford also at his age, I think he's in his early 70s, heading toward 8. I mean, he still finds work. You give this man credit. Some of these people and some of these artists, actors, they age gracefully. But we know as Gen X get older, we don't know how much longer some of these people have because we've lost them recently. Al Pacino is not going anywhere anytime soon. He is still finding work, but no one's ever going to forget a handful of others, a handful of movies that he did. But he's famous for Scarface. He's famous for Any Given Sunday. Son of a Woman was another one. But Al Pacino is still getting work. Props. Don't let this guy go. For real, don't let this guy go anywhere that he's not supposed to go. And then there's Jack Nicholson. And he's still going to Laker games. Famous for all the big time roles that he has done. One Flew Out of the Cuckoo's Nest, and he's famous for being not the original Joker, but in the film versions in '89 when he worked with Tim Burton and Michael Keaton. That was the guy who was picked to be the first Joker for the movie series. And we know the Jokers have been evolution for eons. But for all the other things he did, he's still great for A Few Good Men. but he has been in an endless amount of movies, and he's not dead yet. I think that might be actually a goat. He probably maybe up the top of the list of ones you don't want to get rid of. And then I throw this guy up there. It's whoa, Nature Boy Ric Flair. He's in his mid-70s. Unfortunately, he just got a divorce to Wendy recently. It was a clean one. But this guy's, after everything he's gone through with all his health issues, 16-time world champion, he may also be like, protect this guy. Like, is he now starting to be like a really, really creepy old guy? But it's Ric Flair. It's Ric Flair. He's doing like enhancement promotions, his own. He's got a couple of things on his own line. Oh God, it's Nature Boy Ric Flair. He's not going. Come on, keep the guy alive. Now I get a couple more out of here. Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, she's famous for all her stuff for Halloween. She was in Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies called True Lies. But Jamie Lee Curtis, she was in a movie, I think, with John Travolta, I think. I can't remember the name of it, but everybody remembers the iconic scene where they were aerobic dancing. Everybody remembers that. But Jamie Lee Curtis is irreplaceable as well. She ages beautifully at her age, and she's not going around. She's not going anywhere for a while. I tried to find a couple others, like oh geez, like I know Jennifer Aniston's still hanging around, but remember when she had the haircut and all that stuff in the Friends era? She's just turned in her 50s. All the Friends cast are now in their 50s now, and obviously we lost one of them. But Jennifer Aniston at that time was a not a teen icon, but an actress crush. Still can be. But Jennifer Aniston's not going anywhere. And Jane Fonda is still alive. Now, Jane Fonda was one of those big time actresses, 60s, 70s, in the 80s as well. Was in 9 to 5 with Lily Tomlin and Dolly Parton. And I apologize, I don't have Dolly Parton up here on this list. I should, because we can't lose that woman either. I did this video in a spur moment. But we can't lose that. And we can't lose Dolly Parton either, because she still acts like she's in her 40s. And she don't look like she's in her 70s at all. This person has to be goated. Johnny Depp. He multiple movies, Caribbean series, got through that ordeal with Amber Heard, and he's still hanging around. Give that man props. Give him his flowers. Let's see. I'm looking at time, so I'm going to burn through this to a couple artists. One of the last Beatles, Paul McCartney. He's still doing tours, and heading in 80. He's still doing tours. I think Ringo's still alive as well. If I'm wrong, let me know. I did somewhat of my good homework, but Paul McCartney's still around. He did a Super Bowl halftime show, for God's sake. It was a while back, but you let him go. Barbra Streisand. She has a memoir coming out in November. But if anyone is going to be, if I do a tier list of female vocalists, that woman is probably going to be in an S tier. She did so many movies in the 70s, 80s, and she was known for her music, but then they got her into movies, and she just became iconic. You don't know about Barbra Streisand, you know what to do. It's unbelievable of all the work that she has done, but she cannot leave this earth anytime soon. Clint Eastwood. The guy is in his teens and is in his 90s, and he's directing. But we know the iconic stuff that he did with Dirty Harry, Fistful of Dollars, Every Which Way But Loose. He did that one movie that he was the White House agent. Clint Eastwood is still directing at 90. Good God. Cyndi Lauper is still around in her 70s, and she recently, like a handful of years ago, did like a house track. And Cyndi Lauper is just doing a lot of promotions of pushing of getting around MTV's 40th, 50th anniversary. But Cyndi Lauper is iconic. She's not going anywhere for a while. She looks great at her age too. Mick Jagger is still hanging around there. Him and Keith Richards. But Mick is, and the Rolling Stones are touring at 80. They're still touring at 80, and Mick sounds the same as he ever was. Stevie Nicks, we've heard a lot of her name that she's been hanging around lately, and she's going to be coming. She hanging around for a while. But Stevie Nicks, one of the original members of Fleetwood Mac, I think she was, or she just joined in. But Fleetwood Mac not losing track anytime. That's one of the best bands of all time as well. But Stevie Nicks on her own, one of the best. And I have two left on here, and I had to save them for the last. You have to put Celine Dion in this category for all the stuff of the stiff person syndrome that she's dealing with. And she rose on her own power and sang at the opening ceremony of this year's Olympics in Paris on the Eiffel Tower. And for what she's dealt with, they kept this pretty much not necessarily a secret because Paris had this whole plan, but Celine Dion, she will be in S tier if I do a tier list on that for everything that she's gone through. She's 53, 54, I think, right around that. But Celine Dion should not be touched. And I lead to the last one. I have nothing really to say because Mariah Carey, she is very famous, in case you don't know, in all her 90s stuff, with all her stuff in her 90s, her music videos, her touring, and everything like that. She will be S tier as well, but now she's going to get endless money for All I Want for Christmas because it is going to be number one every Christmas. The memes that are going around saying she is unthawing, ready to come out for Christmas time. But Mariah Carey is iconic. And probably from this day forward, will not be touched ever, ever, and forever. Folks, I gave you a handful of who needs to be saved. If I missed a couple, which I did, but I missed Dolly Parton, I missed a couple others, but we need to save those people because Gen Z millennials do not necessarily know how great we had it back in the day. And they act like, oh, I've always loved them. You're 16. Don't fool us. Put a comment in. Tell us who I missed. Share it with everybody because we are in that age. We got to start saving these people for real. And for us, for Gen X, we know time is cutting short. We got to do what we got to do. Save those people. You made it to the end of this video. I appreciate you. Thumbs up. Hit a like. Throw a comment in. Tell me somebody in particular we need to save. Simple enough. It's like a homework assignment. Bar is closed. I'll see you guys in the next one. But do me a favor. Before you go out and do everything you got to do, hit that subscribe button. That way I'll see you legend, in the next one. Save these people.